for
Good evening, everyone. Just give me a second. Yes, good evening, everyone. I'm fine, Shivani. There was some issue which has been resolved, I believe. Okay, so let us start. I hope sufficient number of students have joined also. Yes, good evening, Ruth. So we are starting with the first news, that is with respect to India and China. बढ़िया अंबर। India-China trade deficit. Okay, first thing, the concept that we had discussed earlier also, basically state. हम समझते हैं state को TPS, Dietary Population Sovereign. We had understood earlier that this component of territory is of recent evolution. It was not, it had evolved earlier. Earlier there used to be empire, which used to expand and contract. So this territory was all a modern concept, but it basically originated in the west, not in the east. It originated in the west, then it was transported to the east or projected to the east or whatever you can call through colonialism. So that's why the biggest dispute that India China has is border. Border को हम एक चीज पहले भी from earlier class we know that this is called LAC. LAC means line of actual control that divides India and China. But remember everyone that LAC as a concept is recognized by both India and China. It is a concept that is recognized by both India and China. Yes, Sambar, but not demarcated. A clear distinction याद रखिएगा that LAC is a recognized concept between India and China, but it is not demarcated on the border. So nobody knows where LAC lies actually. They claim some other place, we claim some other place. Ultimately, ऊपर नीचे होता रहता है. तो in this context, ये background, in this background, we need to understand trade deficit. Why we are talking about trade deficit? Let's come to trade deficit. देखिए trade deficit basically is simply understand करिए if you have income and expenditure, there are two components. If your income is more than if your expenditure is more than income, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? You're losing wealth, and that's the concern. China and India are now the world India and China are the largest trading partner. As you can see, 20 years ago, China was among the top 10, but now it has become by 2020-21, China is the largest trading partner. Good. More trade relation माने more. इस component पे I will come in a later. Trade वाला component, and we will compare this with Pakistan so that we can create a parallel there. We will come that in a second. यहाँ पे देखिए तो what is happening? Trade relations is a good thing. More trade means more investment in each other's country. It means more interest alike. For example, if I invest in your future, for example, if I pay for your coaching or something, then your success is my success. I will take all the effort to make sure that my investment survives. More trade with the country means you will have better relation. The chances that you will go on war is virtually eliminated, I can say. अब यहाँ पे आता losing wealth. So India and sorry, the thing is, but if there's a trade deficit, trade is good, means you are having good relations, very fine. But if there is huge trade deficit, इसका मतलब ये है you're losing wealth. Because of huge trade deficit in India, the amount India is getting from USA and the amount India is sending to USA is vast. Sorry, US cannot China. Means China is earning more than us. So China is getting richer day by day because of our trade. We are getting poorer day by day because of the trade. We are losing wealth every second. First thing. So that's why it is critical. अब आते हैं China वाली Pakistan वाली. If you create a parallel between India and China, the biggest reason is that China, India, Pakistan virtually have no relation, including no trade relation. If we have better trade relation with Pakistan, so it is presumed that India and Pakistan may have a better relationship overall. Why? I told you, if we will invest more in Pakistan, Pakistan will invest more in India, and ultimately what will happen? We will develop better relations. Okay? So this is the component. These are the concern. Biggest concern is we are losing wealth, which we does not like. बोले सबको clear है यहाँ तक? These two parallel and the issue we are having at hand. बाकी देखिए ये तो फैक्ट है कि द ट्रेड सरप्लस इज अराउंड इतना इट हैज द लार्जेस्ट ट्रेड डेफिसिट 73.3 बिलियन दीस आर फैक्ट्स these are some commodities which are traded not very important if you can remember them fine if you cannot remember them तो इतना कुछ खास नहीं है but have a general idea what kind of commodity we trade main आता है अपनी चीज let us come to the main point that we have to discuss why India cannot boycott China अब कैसे करा you have I told you border पे LAC is there not recognized not demarcated but recognized so we have to settle LAC issue that is not being settled previous PPT Just give me a second. ठीक है, I will upload that after this class. होता है क्या, बस skip कर जाता है, actually there are so many classes. So why India cannot boycott? Why India cannot boycott China? We need to understand few things. That we have a huge trade deficit, understood. We are losing wealth, understood. We have border dispute, understood. Because the wealth that we are giving, other we are giving more money to China, China is investing that money to India, Chinese army. And that Chinese army is killing our soldiers on border. The thing is, we are funding our killing of our soldiers because we are giving money to China. Because of trade surplus, they get wealth, which they use to fund their army. The army is basically doing aggression on India's border. So we want to break this chain. But why we cannot break this chain? Most important reason is APIs. Most important reason is APIs because the majority of APIs used in India are imported. अब API का significance we need to understand a bit here. थोड़ा सा we have to go into IPR वाला issue. ठीक है, the problem is something I believe सबको पता होगा, एक चीज होती है branded medicine. Branded medicine that a company do research and development creates a medicine sold and sell in the market. Branded medicine. ये ब्रांडेड मेडिसिन को व्हेन इट गोज आउट ऑफ पेटेंट, इंडिया में जनरली 20 इयर्स का होता है, कंट्री वाइज कंट्री कैन वेरी. आफ्टर 20 इयर्स व्हेन दिस ब्रांडेड मेडिसिन गोज आउट ऑफ पेटेंट, एनीवन कैन मैन्युफैक्चर. एनीवन मींस एनी कंपनी. एंड दैट इज व्हाई यू हैव सो मच अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ मेडिसिन. इंडिया में देखिए हमने एक चीज अच्छी समझी थी. आवर फाउंडिंग फादर्स एंड मदर्स दे अंडरस्टूड वन थिंग वेरी क्लियरली, दैट इंडिया डज नॉट हैव गुड परचेसिंग पावर. वी हैव अ लार्ज अमाउंट ऑफ, और हमें पता था कि वी कैन नॉट इन्वेस्ट इन रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट. दैट्स अ कॉस्टली अफेयर. एक मेडिसिन को बनाने के लिए इट टेक्स इयर्स एंड इयर्स ऑफ रिसर्च एंड करोड़ रुपीस. वी कैन नॉट अफोर्ड दैट मच मनी एट दैट इंडिपेंडेंस टाइम आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट. So we invested in the best part. The best part is mass manufacturing. So from day one, we invested in mass manufacturing. If we cannot make medicines, we cannot produce medicine, we cannot invent medicine. But at least we can produce any medicine that is out of patent and mass. So that we can distribute. जो आप paracetamol and some the medicine that you जो 10-10 रुपए की इंडिया में मिलती है, if you go to foreign countries, they are of 100,000 lakh, कुछ भी हो सकता है, depending upon the country you are visiting, because they do not manufacture. So that is why India, on the basis of its mass capacity to produce generic medicine, term होती है generic, the medicine which are out of patent. The mass capacity to produce generic medicine के दम पे India is the 7th largest exporter in the world. And most of Africa depends on India. Not only Indian people, most of Africa depends on India. And even countries like developed countries like US, UK, the people who cannot afford the US branded medicine, they also are dependent on Indian medicine. Halaki, that's a small portion, very small, but not a significant. But nonetheless, it is. And that is why we cannot boycott China. Because to provide this 10 rupees paracetamol 10 tablets to you, we require cheaper APIs. What is API? API is the active part of the medicine. You have a medicine like this. Medicine में there is a very small component which you know by mg. आप सुनते हैं ना कि 5 mg medicine, 10 mg milligrams. तो ये जो mg वाला होता है, this is the active component. इस पूरी टैबलेट में with how much amount is active component, that is active pharmaceutical ingredient, कुछ भी हो सकता है. Compound can vary depending upon किस medicine की बात हो रही है. And this works on your body. आपकी body में whatever problem is going on, this works. And we want to keep the medicine cheaper, not only for Indian but for the world, because we are the world largest manufacturing hub of generic medicine. So we need cheaper API. China produce cheaper API. पहला point clear है, why we cannot boycott Chinese China? First point clear to everyone? Solid. हाँ ठीक है, अब आते हैं सेकंड पॉइंट पे. Another thing that we are critically dependent, like 24% of India's coal energy. India produces majority of its energy from coal, and a large part of that depends on which Chinese import. Some other part. ठीक है, so it is a unquestionable security challenge. Second reason ये हो गया, first reason is this, second reason is third reason, the most important one is our telecom. ठीक है, मोदी जी what you call that डिजिटल भारत, और डिजिटल भारत जो है डिजिटल इंडिया प्रोग्राम that basically survives in China. China provide cheaper telecom product, और we want to take telecom facilities, especially smartphone, and उसके negative consequences भी हैं, they are different. But to provide government services to every hand, we require cheaper phone. We require cheaper 4G, 3G OPA, and for that we are critically dependent on China. You see the sector of India which are pro people, common people, pro people, they're largely dependent on Chinese input. Most important, health, that is your medicine. Second, telecom. Particular energy भी is important, but it is more for industry, but nonetheless important. So these are the three reasons. Most important three reasons by because of which it cannot boycott China. यहाँ तक सबको क्लियर है? अब एक मेन चीज आती है. Let's suppose, let's take a fictional case that all Indians boycott Chinese products. पहला तो क्वेश्चन ही आता है, why government of India cannot boycott? कोई बता सकता है मुझे? Why government of India cannot boycott Chinese products? Yes, बिल्कुल सही कमान. Because of WTO. WTO is World Trade Organization at the world level. It controls the world trade. The thing about WTO is WTO cannot. The thing about WTO is WTO पे we have signed a number of agreements like trade facilitation agreement, TFA, TRIPS and all. So if government of India legally boycotts China, China can drag India into WTO. This is the thing. इसीलिए बहुत से लोग जो होते हैं जैसे कि why the government does not boycott, why it says to the people, क्यों गवर्नमेंट कहती है people से you boycott Chinese food, the so called आत्मनिर्भर भारत, because government cannot boycott. If it boycotts, then the China can drag India into WTO. The problem with that is then India will be liable to sanctions and all, problem हो जाएगा हमारे पास. क्लियर सबको? पहला नंबर गवर्नमेंट तो नहीं बाइकआउट कर सकती. दैट इज व्हाई दे कॉल आत्मनिर्भर भारत नंबर. आत्मनिर्भर भारत में क्यों कह रहे हैं? व्हाई दे आर सेइंग बी इंडियन बाय इंडिया, इसीलिए कह रहे हैं. ठीक है, तो दिस इज द रीजन. अब आते हैं आप लोगों पे. लेट्स सपोज एवरी सिंगल इंडियन लिसंस टू द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एंड बायकॉट चाइनीज फूड. वुड इट सर्व द पर्पस? इट विल नॉट. वी आर एट मोस्ट, अगर आप देखेंगे 2 से 5% तक वी आर डिपेंडेंट. sanctions, दमन इज डिफरेंट, ट्रेड इज डिफरेंट. बायकॉट चाइना का मतलब ट्रेड रिलेशंस में आ जाएगा. सैंक्शंस जो होते हैं दैट इज अबाउट, फॉर एग्जांपल मोस्ट ऑफ द सैंक्शन यूएन वाले होते हैं. यूएन वाले लीगल सैंक्शन कुछ नहीं कर सकते. जहां तक यूएस सैंक्शंस की बात है, सैंक्शन का मतलब होता है यूएस कहता है यू विल नॉट यूज माय करेंसी. सैंक्शन का यूएस का मतलब है इट सेज यू विल नॉट यूज माय बैंकिंग सिस्टम, यू विल नॉट यूज माय करेंसी. अब डॉलर क्या है हम सबको पता है, हमने पहले पढ़ा था ना, इंडिया इज ट्राइंग फॉर रूपी रूबल एक्सचेंज वाला. वी अंडरस्टूड वी आर ट्राइंग टू बायकॉट दिस क्या होता है डॉलर एंड मेक इंडिया इंटरनेशनल करेंसी. इसलिए हाँ, तो कम टू दिस क्वेश्चन. लेट्स से एवरी सिंगल इंडियन बायकॉट चाइनीज फूड. क्या इससे अचीव होगा? प्रॉब्लम ये है कि एट मोस्ट 2 to 5% ऑफ चाइनीज एक्सपोर्ट आर इंडियन. टोटल चाइनीज एक्सपोर्ट का 2 to 5% इज इंडियन. ऑफ कोर्स चाइना विल बी हर्ट, नो डाउट, लेकिन वी विल बी डिस्ट्रॉयड. China will be hurt, but we will be destroyed because if we boycott China, all Indians boycott China. So China क्या करेगा? China will also try take measures to boycott APIs, this and this. How? China will not boycott India. China will ask its companies कि आप API सस्ते, you are giving API for cheaper ना, raise the price. You can, मैं नहीं कर सकता because then India will drag me in WTO. But you can. The thing is quid pro quo में everyone will be damaged. तो अब इसका सॉल्यूशन क्या बन सकता है? सॉल्यूशन इज ओनली वन, दैट फर्स्ट वी नीड टू रिड्यूस डिपेंडेंस ऑन चाइना. सबसे पहले वी नीड टू रिड्यूस डिपेंडेंस इन एपीआई, देन टेलीकॉम, और फिर एनर्जी में तो वी हैव डिफरेंट एरियाज तो कर सकते हैं. तो वी नीड टू रिड्यूस डिपेंडेंस ऑन चाइनीज प्रोडक्ट फर्स्ट, खासकर एपीआई एंड टेलीकॉम. एंड व्हेन वी अचीव सेल्फ सफिशिएंसी इन एपीआई एंड टेलीकॉम, then we can boycott China. All Indians can boycott. वैसे भी it's not possible, but मान लेते. So clear are all the issues surrounding the trade between India and China. Any question? ठीक है। अब देखते हैं व्हाट इंडिया हैज डन। लेट्स सी व्हाट इंडिया हैज डन एज अ काउंटर मेजर। पहला एक्शन, इंडिया हैज बैंड चाइनीज एड। ऑफ कोर्स इट विल बी सम काइंड ऑफ डैमेज। इसका रीजन अलग है। देखिए, इट इज नॉट ओनली इकोनॉमिक इशू, इट इज अ कल्चरल इशू आल्सो एंड सिक्योरिटी आल्सो। लेट्स टेक एन एग्जांपल। इफ आई से, हाँ, बट टिकटॉक की बात हो रही है। फॉर एग्जांपल इफ आई से, इसको समझिए, इट्स वेरी सिग्निफिकेंट। ये चाइनीज ऐप का बैन इज नॉट जस्ट अ सिंपल इकोनॉमिक क्वेश्चन, इट्स अ बिग इशू। हाउ इट हैपेंस? For example, if I today say that none of the women should be allowed to participate in UPSC exam, they all should. Or for example, if I say all the gayish people, जैसे अभी हो रहा है ना, वेरी गुड, आई बिलीव बहुत अच्छा काम हो रहा है। दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट में गे जज इज बीइंग अपॉइंटेड। तो गवर्नमेंट थोड़ा रेसिस्टेंस दिखा रही है बिकॉज़ गवर्नमेंट इज अ बिट राइट सेंट्रिक गवर्नमेंट इसलिए। बट दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट में गे जज इज बीइंग अपॉइंटेड, वेरी गुड जज, आई बिलीव बहुत अच्छा काम हो रहा है। हाँ, बट प्रॉब्लम अब इसमें एक फर्क समझिए। अगर मैं बोलता हूँ से फॉर एग्जांपल दैट दिस जज शैल नॉट बी अपॉइंटेड, हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू वुड एग्री दैट अ गे जज शैल नॉट बी अपॉइंटेड? कोई है? कोई एग्री करेगा या नहीं करेगा? नहीं करेंगे। अब लॉजिक क्यों है? व्हाई यू पीपल आर नॉट एग्री? बिकॉज़ यू पीपल आर अंडर सब्जुगेशन ऑफ वेस्टर्न वैल्यूज। इसको समझिए। देखिए, आई एम नॉट सेइंग दे आर बैड वैल्यूज, दे आर गुड वैल्यूज, ऑफ कोर्स दे आर गुड, बट व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज अंडरस्टैंड द mental subjugation. Why we are banning this app, then you will understand. The thing is, whatever US think is the norm. जो भी US सोचता है, whatever US think is the norm. All the values that we, liberty, democracy, human rights, ये सारी, if you analyze those values, all the standards of democracy, liberty, human rights are set by US. The people whom I teach IR, I tell them one thing, that IR is nothing more than American social sciences. All the theories, scholars are American. And polity is nothing more than Western European social sciences. All the polity concepts are European in origin. Why? So the thing is, they develop the system. They decide what is the standard of liberty. They decide what is the standard of democracy. They decide what is the standard of this and that. And then they use those values to judge everyone. And you people, I included, we are under so much impact of Western values. Why? Because of most important thing, समझिए, their countries, FANG, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google. It's a new term, FANG. Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google. They control around 80 to 90% of world data. And all companies are US based. Now imagine कीजिए, if I want to make you anti-democracy. Say for example, I want to make you anti-democracy. तो कितना आसान है मेरे लिए? I have 80 to 90% of data of the world. I can manipulate. I've always said Google knows about you more than you know about yours. Every single like you make, every single comment you make, every second you are present on online platform, you are creating a data point. And then algorithm of Google and these, they analyze data point to create your profile, what kind of person you are, what you like, what you do not like. And then I can manipulate. So it is crafty manipulation. आपको पता ही नहीं लगेगा that I am inserting values in you, I am inserting my ideas. आप समझिए क्यों बैन किया? इसलिए बैन किया because Chinese app you people are using. China can push silently its own values, Chinese values. So maybe 20 to 30 years down the lines, your kids and your kids to kids, they will accept Chinese ideas as normal ideas. उनके लिए वो नॉर्मल बन जाएगा। अब जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल अभी काफी लोग कोरियन शो देखने लगे हैं। A lot of young people are watching a lot of Korean shows. अब इससे क्या हो रहा है? The Korean values, कोरिया में जो भी वैल्यूज होती हैं, कल्चरल ethos, because everyone has a different cultural ethos. Those cultural ethos will become your values. You will start to think like their idea. You will start to judge people like according to their standards. BTS सुना हुआ है? मुझे पता नहीं क्या है ये BTS, कोई बैंड है क्या? I've heard about this BTS. अच्छा, अच्छा बॉय बैंड, ठीक है। तो सबको समझ में आया था फर्स्ट पॉइंट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट नॉट ओनली फॉर इकोनॉमी, इट इज आल्सो इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर इंडियाज कल्चरल एंड कल्चरल सिक्योरिटी। आपके बच्चे एंड योर किड्स एंड किड्स ऑफ योर किड्स विल बी चेंज्ड। फॉर एग्जांपल आप इतनी बड़ी-बड़ी बातें मारते हैं, व्हाटएवर द लिबरल स्टैंडर्ड यू होल्ड, यू लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल स्मोकिंग इन द स्ट्रीट, if you're a girl you want to smoke in the street, दिल्ली में you do बहुत बच्चे करते हैं, इंस्टीट्यूट के बहुत बच्चे, यू विल फाइंड आफ्टर क्लास दे स्मोकिंग, दे ड्रिंकिंग ऑल। अब योर पेरेंट्स मे नॉट एक्सेप्ट दैट नॉर्मल, लेकिन if your parents would have been born in a time when you would be having that phone, जो phone आपके पास है, if your parents would have been born in a time they would be having that phone, उनकी वैल्यूज आपकी वैल्यूज, बात समझ में आ रहा है? बिकॉज दे वुड बी मेंटली सब्जुगेटेड बाय वेस्टर्न वैल्यूज सिंस देयर टाइम, इसलिए वी हैव बैंड चाइनीज। पता नहीं कोरियन मैंने बहुत देखा है, बहुत बच्चे कोरियन शोज देखने लगे हैं क्लासेस में भी, पता नहीं किस किस की बात करते हैं लोग। चलिए cool। एनीवे सबको क्लियर है, पहला पॉइंट बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है चाइनीज से, वी हैव आल्सो डिस्कस्ड द मेंटल सब्जुगेशन डिजिटल लाइफ, और यही पता लड़ाई का कारण बनता है, जैसे मैंने आपको पहले बताया था पीपल, as I have told you earlier also that some people जो होते हैं they are highly इसमें से होता है चाइनीज ऐप का बैन में, आई डोंट नो, आई स्किप द पॉइंट, एनीवे क्लियर। तो ये पहला पॉइंट। सेकंड पॉइंट सिंपल है, दैट इज बेसिकली वी आर केयरफुली एक्सक्लूडिंग चाइनीज कंपनी फ्रॉम 5G टेस्टिंग, वेरी सिंपल। if they use Chinese technology for 5G networking, then they can use that technology for against। अब प्रॉब्लम इंडिया के साथ बड़ी अजीब है यहाँ पे, that either we can adopt China or we can adopt West, दोनों ही केस में हम मर रहे हैं। We can adopt Western companies as a provider of telecom services, the technology, or Chinese companies. In both cases, we are at disadvantage. So India has played smartly always. For example, we created missiles, जो भी हम मिसाइल वगैरह बनाते थे। So what we did, in that missile we installed two systems, GPS as well as GLONASS. GLONASS is the navigation system of USSR or Russia current. GPS is the global navigation system of USA. So we installed a missile with both systems. ताकि अगर हमें, if we have to use this missile against USA, we will use GLONASS navigation. If we have to use this missile against Russia, we will use GPS navigation. इस तरीके से भी we have tried to dilute our independence. तो यहाँ पे we can go for a black, but India is carefully considering Chinese investment and excluding companies wherever it feels कि वहाँ पे जरूरत नहीं. Good idea. पहला ठीक है, second third, we are limiting opportunistic acquisition of domestic company by FDI limit. We have placed an FDI limit on Chinese companies so that they can not acquire Indian companies. Promoting bulk drug parks and production link incentives. I told you we are critically dependent for our APIs on the Western countries. उसके लिए what we have done, we are promoting bulk drug parks. But we are promoting bulk drug parks. इसमें bulk drug parks समझिए, it will be a large area where there will be all the facilities, manufacturing, commodity, जो भी चीजें चाहिए होती है to make a drug, it will be available in that park. That's bulk drug park. And last point is anti-dumping. पहला you have, what is dumping? कभी सुना dumping tax? What is this anti-dumping tax? पहले आप मुझे बताइए what is dumping? इसको idea anyone? नहीं, वेस्ट कह सकते हैं, पर यहाँ पे वेस्ट की बात नहीं होगी। वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट एक्सपोर्ट इंपोर्ट्स हियर। वेस्ट को डंप नहीं कर रहे हैं हम यहाँ पे। हाँ, काइंड ऑफ लो प्राइसेस कह सकते हैं। बेसिकली डंपिंग सिंपल होता है, इफ यू आर मेकिंग अ प्रोडक्ट फॉर 100 रुपीस एंड यू आर, शिवानी के बाइक पे घूम रहे हो तुम?
No, sir, I wanted to say dumping tax, so I unmuted.
अच्छा नहीं होते, मतलब बाइक कूल 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 कूल। तो anti-dumping taxes are some chemical. Basically, dumping क्या होता है? Is 10 rupees, 100 rupees. You are making it for 100 rupees. Your cost of production is 100. Then you are supplying that product to other country for 10 rupees. But that en masse. En masse means in a large quantity. En masse sale. थोड़ा हो तो नहीं चलता. What government will do? Government will impose 90 rupees taxes. Import taxes. So ultimately, this product will come again to 100. This is a kind of anti-dumping measure. Clear सबको? तो we have imposed anti-dumping taxes on chemical and wood. Anyway, सबको clear है what the Indian government has what the efforts Indian government is taking? ठीक है, but nonetheless याद रखिएगा, they will not work until unless we reduce our dependence on China, especially in our medicine and telecom. Telecom में तो चलो we can handle, but at least medicine में we have to reduce Chinese dependence. Because this all समझ गए शिवानी, got the point. So local bubbles. So these all we had about China wala. Baki next news is with respect to science and technology. Let's see quickly. Local bubble. इसमें देखिए, this is news is largely important. He will save, पता नहीं कहाँ save करेगा. If you look at the reports, which of course our media does not publish, if you look at reports, तो आपको reality पता लगेगी. The compound that they use are akin to the Western product. ऐसा नहीं है कि they are making something very natural. There's so many compounds. For example, the milk, the ghee that they are serving in the name of organic and all, it's highly has some element which are very disturbing. क्या कर सकते हैं? Nationalism is on fervor. So he's a smart businessman, I must say. He knows that people are sentimental for nationalism, cultural values. He's exploiting it to the extreme. Very smart businessman. लेट हो गया, कोई नहीं, अभी हम नेक्स्ट न्यूज पे आ गए. वी हैव डिस्कस चाइना वाला, ठीक है, तो वी आर नेक्स्ट न्यूज. लोकल बबल. दिस न्यूज इज फ्रॉम साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी. Local bubble. This news is from science and technology and it is relevant for what? The local bubble is relevant for prelims only. ये ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं, means में don't nobody will ask. Prelims के लिए there may be a one liner. Which of the following statement represent a local bubble? Then you have to identify. So simply understand local bubble माने क्या होता है? It's a super bubble. In space, it's a bubble that is created that is about 1000 light years. अच्छा, पहले please tell me light years. Is it a unit of distance or time? Yes, distance होगा. नहीं, टाइम नहीं है शिवानी. इट्स डिस्टेंस. लाइट ईयर का मतलब होता है द डिस्टेंस ट्रेवल्ड बाय लाइट इन 1 ईयर. 1 लाइट ईयर का मतलब हो जाएगा द डिस्टेंस ट्रेवल्ड बाय लाइट इन 1 ईयर, दैट इज 1 लाइट ईयर. 1000 लाइट ईयर मींस द डिस्टेंस ट्रेवल्ड बाय लाइट इन 1000 ईयर हो जाएगा. द बिग डिस्टेंस वैसे. एनीवे, so remember light year is a unit of distance, not time. Super bubble क्या होता है? Super bubble is a large empty space. The way you have bubble is a large empty space which a diameter of around 1000 light years and has a very low density. Why we are discussing this? Because recently in Center for Astrophysics of Harvard University and Smithsonian joint effort, in that they created a 3D magnetic map using some satellite of European space agency. Harvard and Smithsonian in Center of Astrophysics, they basically created a 3D magnetic map using the satellites, this European Space Agency's GIA and Planck space-based observatories. They use these two observatories, space-based observatories. Understand the difference. Term क्या है यहाँ पे? Space-based, मतलब they are in outer space. There are two observatories. One is on the Earth, तो आपके land पे होती है. One is in the space. The biggest advantage is, can anyone give me a name of Indian space-based observatory? Any Indian space-based observatory? अरे इसरो बॉडी है अभी, मैं ऑब्जर्वेटरी की बात. इसरो तो इंस्टीट्यूट है. Anyone has any idea? Any space-based observatory of India? एक ही है वैसे तो primarily. कुछ एस्ट्रो वेस्ट्रो समथिंग सिमिलर नेमिंग कुछ याद आ रहा है किसी को? Astrosat. Do cover this. These are space-based observatories, means they are in the outer space, out of the. इसका फायदा होता है because Earth का atmosphere जो होता है, it interferes too much with the readings. It's not a big thing अगर you are observing a near object, but when you are observing object in the far space, in lights and lights year away from Earth, केस में क्या होता है, उन केस में क्या होता है, यू हैव अ लॉट ऑफ डिस्टर्बेंस, माइनर डिस्टर्बेंस से भी रीडिंग्स बदल जाती है, एंड विद दैट रीडिंग यू विल हैव डिफरेंट इंटरप्रिटेशन। तो स्पेस इज ऑब्जर्वेटरी बेटर है। तो हमने दो चीजें समझी इसके बारे में। लोकल बबल, इट्स अ वास्ट, स्पेस स्टेशन अलग होता है अभी। स्पेस स्टेशन जैसे हमारे पास है इंटरनेशनल स्पेस स्टेशन ISS, it's a joint venture of 6 countries, if I'm not wrong, 6 है I believe, USA, रशिया, चाइना वगैरह वगैरह। स्पेस स्टेशन में क्या होता है, प्रॉपर प्लेस वेयर पीपल लिव, जैसे आपका ISS है। ऑब्जर्वेटरी इज लाइक अ सैटेलाइट, अलग नहीं होती, इट्स जस्ट अ सैटेलाइट ऑपरेटेड फ्रॉम अर्थ। There will be a station on Earth. It will operate a satellite revolving in our orbit, but it is out of the space. And normal satellite have their face towards the Earth, because they're observing Earth. This satellite has their face away from the Earth, because they're observing the outer space. Clear? तो एस्ट्रोसाइट है हमारे पास, तो ठीक है। तो वी हैव अंडरस्टूड फ्यू थिंग्स। पहला, लोकल बबल क्या है? इट्स अ वास्ट एम्प्टी कैविटी क्रिएटेड इन द स्पेस दैट इज अराउंड थाउजेंड्स ऑफ लाइट ईयर्स बिग एंड लो डेंसिटी। फर्स्ट पॉइंट। सेकंड पॉइंट, दैट इट हैज बीन रिसेंटली ऑब्जर्व्ड by a 3D magnetic map of center of astrophysics. Name is not important. Even this is not important very much. But remember, it has been observed recently by Center of Astrophysics using two space-based observatory, GEA and Planck, which are of European species. 2 points we have to remember. Third point, how it is created. It is created by a supernova. Now, what is supernova? Supernova is a strong and bright explosion. What is supernova? A supernova is a strong and bright explosion that takes place at the conclusion of large star's existence. When a large star dies, it explodes. And that strong explosion creates a kind of vacuum, and that creates local bubble. First. Now remember, stars कई तरह से मरते हैं. जैसे for example, our star. Our star कौन सा है? What is the star of India? शाहरुख खान. Sun. Yes, बिल्कुल सही. So it is predicted that our star will not explode like a supernova. It will cool down. हमारा star explode नहीं करेगा because it's not a big star. Big star often explodes. It is predicted that it may cool down at the end of its हाँ सैल्मोन भाई हाँ वाइट डॉफ अभी बिल्कुल सही बट सैल्मोन भाई एक्सपायर हो चुके हैं कोई और स्टार हो गया हमारे पास साउथ के स्टार ज्यादा आ रहे हैं चलिए एनीवे तो सुपरनोवा सबको क्लियर है 3 पॉइंट्स दैट यू हैव टू रिमेंबर अबाउट लोकल बबल इससे ज्यादा मत करिएगा बट हाँ आई डोंट नो व्हाट काइंड ऑफ मूवी इज दैट so three things we need to remember local bubble is a vast empty space in the air in the space created by a supernova. Supernova is a strong bright explosion that takes place at the conclusion of large stars existence. Okay. And it has been recently observed by a 3D modeling using the space-based observatory of European Space Agency GEA. This is sufficient for prelim. Do not go in deep detail beyond this. Clear, everyone? Any question up here? किसी भी चीज पे cool. तो अब नेक्स्ट न्यूज करते हैं शुक्रयान and Venus mission. Currently details are a bit sketchy. We have no clear detail कि what is this शुक्रयान exactly is. रॉकी भाई ये कौन है रॉकी भाई मतलब पहले नाम सुना है अच्छा KGF ओके कूल ठीक है कह रहे हैं स्कॉलर्स के नाम इतने याद रखने पड़ते हैं ये सब याद नहीं हो पाते से हवाले ठीक है तो Shukryan and Venus mission. Basically, it has been started. The advisor of ISRO Space Research Station started talk about. Simple समझते क्या है? Shukryan is basically the name of Indian mission. Possible. It is not clear कि होगा या नहीं होगा. We have no clear idea currently. What is clarity about it? But we know it is being planned by the ISRO and may be launched. Not when it will be launched is not very clear. Okay? And it is to study Venus. The logic comes is why Venus? There's so many planets. Why not Mars? We are trying to colonize Mars. But remember, everyone, Earth's twin. If there is one planet in the solar system that is called as Earth's twin, it is Venus. It is believed it's morphology and geology, whatever is there. It's largely like Earth. So we are going to study Venus to understand Earth's evolution of Earth, death of Earth, जो भी possible होगा. Earth, ये Earth's twin बोलते हैं इसे. It is Earth's twin. Venus is known as Earth's twin. Just like Earth का जैसा इसका सीन है ना. तो basically इसलिए इसे Earth's twin बोलते हैं. Why we are trying to study Venus because Venus is Earth's twin. By studying Venus, we can understand about Earth. The way by studying one sibling, you can predict other sibling. But जरूरी नहीं same हो. कई sibling बहुत अलग होते हैं, लड़ते रहते हैं. Anyway, this is the reason we are having. To be clear, the name of India's Venus mission is Shukryan. It is basically to study the Venus sphere. Question is थोड़ा सा technical detail समझते हैं. Shukryan may compose because we are not clear yet. So it may compose an orbiter of around 100, having payload of 100 kgs. Orbiter means something that orbit around a planet, a satellite, or whatever may be the case. The rocket that will be used, PSLV mark. अब यहाँ थोड़ा let us stop and understand this. देखिए, for launching a satellite, you have, for example, क्या बोलते हैं, there is a booster to be, ठीक है, and then you have the payload. This is how it works. ये तो rocket बन गया छोटा सा, ठीक है. यहाँ पे you have a payload, and this major part, this is divided into various stages, and this is basically your launch vehicle. For that, let us consider this is Earth. We need to understand another thing. तो ये तो हो गया launch vehicle का basic detail. Second, orbits. We place satellite somewhere so that it can do something. This is effort. तो यहाँ से जो जाता है, if this is the Earth, the thing that goes from the equator, sorry, the pole, it is known as polar orbit. There's a virtual place going around the pole. If you place a satellite here, it's a polar satellite. Other is like this, which revolves around the Earth like this. These are known as geosynchronous. Here are the two kind of orbit, polar and geosynchronous. दोनों का अलग-अलग feature है. Geosynchronous are largely used to observe a particular area. For example, if this is Earth, यहाँ पे you have India. If I want to observe India, then I will use a geosynchronous satellite simply because ये ऐसे revolve करता है, and it will revolve as per the Earth's revolution. For example, if this is Earth, here we have India in the middle of the span, and this is a satellite. It has to move just like the Earth will rotate. It will revolve around the Earth at the same speed, so that it will be always above India only. Geosynchronous. Polar को हम इस्तेमाल करते हैं basically when we want to observe the entire Earth. ठीक है, अब मुझे एक चीज बताइए, what is the name of India's GPS navigation? इंडिया का जो नेविगेशन सिस्टम है, क्या नाम है उसका? किसी को नहीं पता. That's surprising. GPS, तो I told you, it's American Global Position. Yes, नाविक. बिल्कुल सही, नाविक. हाँ, दोनों नाम है उसके. IRNSS. It's the old name, technical name. This नाविक name is given by Prime Minister. Yes, दोनों नाम है. So, the Indian Regional Navigation System start to be नाविक. अब you have to tell me what kind of satellite we will use in नाविक. Geosynchronous या फिर polar? Geosynchronous sense समझ में आ रहा है सबको? Because we want to observe India only. So we will use geosynchronous satellites that stay over India most of the time. अब, because we want to observe. Say for example, I want to make the map of entire Earth, understand the ecology of entire Earth. So फिर what kind of orbit I will use? Polar. ठीक है? I hope both are clear. Yes. इससे ज़्यादा technical detail में no need to go. अब याद रखिए एक चीज. There is another orbit which we call sun synchronous. Sun synchronous orbit. These are a special case of polar orbits. So we have two orbits, polar and geosynchronous, and then we have sun synchronous. They are a special case of polar orbit. Means the satellite is placed in a polar orbit, but we know sun. If you have sun is here, Earth revolves around the sun. At the same time, it rotates over its axis. Revolves around the sun and rotates over its axis. So we place the satellite in such a manner that it always faces the sun. That's it. Earth will keep on revolving, but it will always face the sun. इसे हम बोलते हैं sun synchronous. It's a special case of polar orbit. एक और होता है equatorial. हाँ, polar का special case है शिवानी. Sun synchronous is a special case of polar orbit. अब एक और होता है equatorial. Equatorial क्या होता है? They are a special case of geosynchronous orbit. Geosynchronous माने according to Earth's rotation. Equatorial में क्या होता है? We place a satellite which is at the equator only. It's a special case of geosynchronous. Clear है everyone? All four terms. वैसे चार टर्म ही है that you need to understand in case satellite functioning in India. ठीक है. अब देखिए इसी ये काम आता है intelligent guesses. जैसे we did that analysis of question. I told you that nobody knows more than 50%. क्वेश्चन आपको पता ही और टॉपर. उसके बाद क्या होता है? इंटेलिजेंट गेसेस आते हैं. एंड दैट्स हाउ इट वर्क्स. फॉर एग्जांपल यू हैव नेवर हर्ड दिस नाविक. आपको पता ही नहीं, कभी सुना ही नहीं. बट you know that geosynchronous satellites are used to keep a satellite at a particular place. So based on this understanding, you can predict that if Navik is a GPS system for India only, then it must have this kind of satellite. इस तरीके से इसे बोलते हैं इंटेलिजेंट गेसिंग. By having some knowledge about something, you can predict what could be the outcome in present question. That's the link we have to create. Nonetheless, this is all about this. अब आते हैं मेन चीज पे. Please tell me what is this GSLV then? आपको क्या लगता है? GSLV. It is geosynchronous launch vehicle. Mark 2 is the version 2. Now you have to tell me in which place or in which orbit we can use these kind of rockets to place a satellite. Shivani is saying geo. Other people? Polar, Amber polar, Athena polar. Equatorial is a special case. If you place in geo, then you can place equatorial. दोनों कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Remember, it is used to place everywhere. जैसे for example, जैसे आप समझिए, मैंने if for example I name your car as a truck. मैंने आपकी कार का नाम ट्रक रख दिया. उसका मतलब ये थोड़ी ना कि वो ट्रक की तरह चलेगा. If for example आपके पास चॉपर है. Chopper means you have that helicopter. So helicopter can land anywhere. It is not required to be landed only on a particular tarmac. It's not like a rocket. Oh, sorry, the jet plane. Jet plane require a particular long stretch. It can land anywhere. It can start. It can uplift from anywhere. अब तो personal chopper भी आने लगे 30 से 40 लाख के आसपास में. So you need to understand that just because you name something, it does not mean it cannot work. इसका नाम बेशक geosynchronous है, but it's just like it's a simply launch vehicle. It has to place a particular payload in an orbit, so it can be used for both. ये point मैं बताना चाहता, please remember this. The name is geosynchronous, but it can be used to place satellite in both orbits. Clear? So this is the background knowledge and everything we have. So let me summarize everything quickly. So let me summarize. India is thinking of going to study a planet called Venus, which is Earth's twin. So we want to understand Venus to understand Earth, the processes and everything. For that, the project name is Shukriyan. It will consist of orbiter. It will use a rocket system that is GSLV Mark III, which can be used for both kind of orbits that you have in place. Okay. बाकी aims and objective I have told you already. Significant challenges you have taken. Anyway, clear. बताइए, थ्री न्यूज आर क्लियर? एनी क्वेश्चन? लोकल बबल, दिस ऑर्बिट वाला, मॉर्फोलॉजिकल बेसिस पे शिवानी, ये तो आपका साइंस एंड टेक टीचर विल टेल यू बेटर कि प्रॉपर अंडरस्टैंडिंग तो आई डू नॉट हैव डीप डिटेल्स, ठीक है? तो ask them कि वे प्रॉपर्ली कैसे, बट आई नो दैट इज अ टर्स्टफुल मॉर्फोलॉजिकली समथिंग इट हैज सिमिलरिटी. मे रुको यार, देख ही लेते हैं, रुक जाओ एक सेकंड, जस्ट गिव मी अ सेकंड. They are called a twin because they are similar in size and structure. The structure of Venus and the size is more or less similar to the Earth. Structure जो भी उसकी layers वगैरह होंगे, they are same. That's why. The intensity different है. It is hot and has more dense and toxic atmosphere. The structure is more or less the same. Structure and size. Okay, that's why it may be called Earth twin. So this is the reason. अब आते हैं अपनी next news. Oxfam survival of the richest. This news is very important. You can directly use this in entire GS paper 2. You can use this in GS paper 3 also if you require internal security वगैरह में, it will come very handy as a footer point. यहाँ पे तो it can be directly used. GS3 which is your economy, internal security, और वहाँ पे you can use it as a footer point. Another thing that comes primarily GS paper 4. Directly you can use this as an ethical case study of inequality. बहुत आसानी से you can put this point. Let's understand what is the news. Oxfam survival of the richest. का तो एक term होती है survival of the fittest. So it's a manipulation of survival of the fittest. अच्छा ये बताइए, who said the survival of the fittest? Who was the scholar? Catherine saying Darwin. Other people, what do you think? Charles Darwin. Okay. Krishna is Darwin. Everyone is Darwin here. कोई और नहीं है क्या? सबको लगता है, but he never talked about Charles Darwin. It was Herbert Spencer. There's some misconfusion among people. They believe that he said so. No, he did not. He talked about natural selection. वो एक अलग चीज है. Darwin's theory is about natural selection, not about survival of the fittest. It's a political interpretation. Survival of the fittest is a political interpretation of Darwin's theory of natural selection by Herbert Spencer. याद रखिएगा, it is not he who used. अब आते हैं तो it's a manipulation. Survival of the fittest is a manipulation of Herbert Spencer. Survival of the fittest and the richest. समझते हैं क्यों? पहला before this, let's understand some background. I hope सबको याद है 2008 crisis and what unfolded after this. याद है? Anyone in the class who does not remember? We have discussed multiple times in previous classes. कोई भी है यहाँ पे जिसे नहीं पता? I'm believing everyone knows. Shivani does not. And who else does not know? Summarize it. करना पड़ेगा. A lot of people does not know it. हाँ, USA वाला. Okay, there are some. So let me summarize for everyone. Okay, some people may revise and the people will get the knowledge. Okay, 2008 में there was a crisis. It was known as subprime crisis. It was known as subprime crisis. 2008 में there was a crisis known as subprime crisis. Why I'm discussing this? Because it's a direct outcome of neoliberalism. It was a direct outcome of neoliberalism. The people who does not understand the word neoliberalism means market fundamentalism. Neoliberalism is a political theory. This talks about neoliberalism is a political theory. The economic dimension of neoliberalism is market fundamentalism. इसका मतलब ये है कि market is the god. Market is everything. And that's the people, and these people basically talks about privatization, liberalization, globalization. The LPG reform that we adopted, they are neoliberal in origin, and the current government is extremely neoliberal. This will come handy जब हम थोड़ा move करेंगे. So subprime crisis जो था 2008 का, it's a classical case of neoliberalism failure. Neoliberal says that market should be the god, the state should not intervene. Means it simply says that if I'm born rich, then it's my karma. You are born poor, it's your fault. The government shall not tax me to fund for your health, your food. वो इस हद तक बोलते हैं. Simply says, this is progressive taxation. Progressive का मतलब होता है those who earn more pays more taxes. So they say progressive taxation is bonded labor. Because I am working good, I am earning high wages. Why you are taxing me more than a common person? Tax us all of us equal. That is neoliberalism. They talk about no market. They talk about zero government everywhere. They talk about government should not be anywhere. They talk about everything shall be private sector. They talk about weak regulations. They talk about low taxes, but more taxes on all people. They say lower the tax rates, spread the tax base. Tax base means number of people being taxed, people or commodity being taxed. It's called tax base. That is why आपने recently you must have heard that Indian government has imposed tax even on chapatis and all. सुना आप लोगों ने GST में recently there was a big crisis. The government has even taxed your chapatis, that common people food. आप समझेंगे कि this is the problem with current government. It's neoliberal. I've told you privatization is not bad, not at all. It is not at all bad. But the problem is rapid privatization is very bad. I always take this example, then I will come here. For example, AIIMS Delhi. For example, AIIMS Delhi. If you privatize AIIMS Delhi today, मान लेते हैं, if you privatize AIIMS Delhi today, so who can buy AIIMS Delhi today? It's a big hospital of central government. Adani Ambani or maybe some other people, 10 or 20 people of India, they can buy. But maybe 20 to 30 years down the line, government decides to privatize AIIMS Delhi. Then हो सकता है some of you can buy. Any one of you can become an entrepreneur. We never know the future. You can become an entrepreneur. You may have the money to buy AIIMS Delhi then, 20, 30 years down the line. But for that, AIIMS Delhi must be a government body till that. Na? Must be a government body till that. Na? This is the problem USSR conduct. We discussed kiya tha. I'm giving this summary for the people who do not know. We discussed this. After when USSR got disintegrated in Russia in 1991, they adopted neoliberalism and at a fast pace, because of which the entire Russian wealth came into the hand of few families, 10 to 20 families. They captured the entire wealth of Russia, and this is known as oligarchy in Russia. ये हमेशा word आता है, the oligarchs of Russia. You will hear this term in current events. The oligarchs of Russia are doing this. Oligarchs of Russia are deciding that. These are the oligarchs because they captured the entire state. And when you capture the entire wealth, you control the government also. It's very simple. Who funds the political party? Corporate sector. आप नहीं फंड देते, मैं नहीं फंड देता, because we do not earn that much कि हम फंड कर सकते. Corporate sector gives money. If a corporate company gives you 20 crores, तो वो आपसे 40 करोड़ का काम करवाएगी. If I will give you 20 crore, your political party, then I will make sure that after coming into power, you will give me a contract of 40 crore. This is the thing that neoliberalism did wrong. What is happening currently is, यहाँ पे देखिए, as per neoliberalism, it was adopted by USA 1960. At that point of time, the president of USA was Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was the president. He adopted neoliberalism. India में neoliberalism was adopted during Manmohan Singh, and Manmohan Singh was the finance minister. Narasimha Rao. Narasimha Rao was the prime minister. Manmohan Singh was the finance minister. They adopted neoliberalism reforms, LPG reforms. Modi has become extremely neoliberal. He's extremely neoliberal. अब आते हैं Ronald Reagan पे. 1960 में Ronald Reagan basically started neoliberal reforms in America, and based fundamental component neoliberalism is market fundamental. Means weaken government control everywhere. Same thing Ronald Reagan did, and that's the outcome of subprime crisis. Subprime crisis happened. The bankers, the merchant bankers of USA, they gave loans. They gave loans which became bad because nobody was regulating it. Nobody was checking whether what they are saying is true. And they create a bubble, a mirage that everything is running fine. The 2008 we became aware that the loan that was given to the people, they cannot return it back. इसे बोलते हैं subprime. Subprime means the people who cannot pay back. इसीलिए बोलते हैं इसे subprime crisis. The entire market panic and the entire world panic. 2008 के बाद से क्या होता है? तो सबको क्लियर हो रहा है? Everyone is clear? What is subprime crisis and how it is linked to neoliberalism? So this is a problem we are facing currently in India. Right wing has adopted neoliberalism very clearly. Right wing is the outcome of neoliberalism as well as adopted neoliberalism. इसलिए मैं एक चीज हमेशा कहता हूँ that देखिए मोदी is not in power only because of himself. ठीक है, he is liked by the corporate sector also. ऐसा नहीं मनमोहन सिंह को भी corporate sector like करता है, ऐसा नहीं है. मनमोहन सिंह has brought these reforms. ऐसा नहीं है. He's a charismatic leader, no doubt, but he's liked by the corporate sector a lot. That's why media says nothing. नहीं, इसमें एक फर्क है. हाँ, लार्जली बोथ आर आउटकम ऑफ न्यूलिबरलिज्म. लिबरलिज्म की फिलॉसफी का आउटकम है. न्यूलिबरलिज्म तो गलत कहना होगा. बट देयर इज अ डिफरेंस. 1929 वाज एन आउटकम ऑफ external factors. 1929 में the Great Depression of USA was because of external factors, largely the World War I and the outcome. 2008 was an internal demon. It was a greed of the corporate of USA, the banks and all. And उसके बाद they were rewarded also. US government gave $7 trillion bailout package, a reward. Still nonetheless. Sorry. तो अब आते हैं तो after understanding this background, let's come to the news. Oxfam recently published a report in which it has given some recommendation and it has found something. पहले देखते हैं what is it found. It has found that in India, social inequality is very steep. The rich 1% of India control 40% of national wealth. Means entire nation में the wealth that you have, that is 40% is controlled by only 1% of India. And the poorest 50%, the bottom of 50% control only 3% of entire wealth. The majority of the wealth is in the pockets of the rich people, the ultra rich people. That's why you live in a country where in all socioeconomic indicators you are going down. All socioeconomic indicators you are going down, but few people are becoming super rich. ये finding है इसकी. पहली finding ये, अब देखते हैं how I am seeing this. ये रहा. ठीक है. Oxfam report found that billionaires of India, they increased their wealth by 121% in Corona period. 121% corona period, in the time when the real income of the India has declined. Per capita income जो इंडिया में होती है, per capita means national total wealth of the nation divided by the population. Per capita, what is the income per person? Average. Per capita income has gone down in India during corona, but the wealth of this corporate sector, these billionaires have gone up, that to 121%. Another thing they think, these are all of the findings. The lower 50% of the population pays 64% of the GST collection. The top 10% who control, I believe, kitna, 60 to 70% to control करते ही होंगे. If 1% of top people controls 40% of wealth, the 10% may control 60 to 70%. So the people who control 60 to 70% of wealth, they pay only 3%. I believe everyone can see it's a severe issue. Clear, everyone? अब देखते हैं what are the suggestions. So it clearly highlights India is going from a very troubled phase of inequality. Numerous reasons, I mean, numerous reasons. They can easily bypass करना बहुत आसान होता है. एक और चीज भी होता है, गवर्नमेंट रिबेट्स बहुत ज्यादा है. कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर के लिए गवर्नमेंट हैज गिवन टू मच रिबेट्स. जैसे मैं पहले भी बताया मैंने, 2020 में गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया रिड्यूस कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स. Corporate tax reduced, I think, 16% for the new firm or 25% for the old firm, if I remember correctly. It was a drop down from 32 or something. इसके कारण government lost 1 lakh crore rupees. We gave 1 lakh crore rupees to the corporate willingly. Imagine. And people call रेवड़ी जब some people give free electricity. जैसे कितना खर्चा होता है 100 से 200 करोड़, मैं कहता हूँ 2000 करोड़ मान लेते हैं. 2,000 crore are spent to provide free electricity, free water to the people in Delhi. And then you call it revenue. Which is a bigger revenue? 1 lakh crore, 2,000 crore. Nonetheless, it's a political revenue. Now, let's see what are the recommendations that we need to understand. Understand the significance here. According to Oxfam report, if government of India impose only 2% tax on the richest rich of India. If government of India impose only 2% tax on the richest rich of India, then it can feed every single Indian for 3 years. All the hungry people who are sleeping in India, dying out of hunger, government of India can feed them for 3 years continuously. Just a second. Understand? Only 2% tax lagana, zyada nahi. Another thing, let alone if government of India tax only 10 rich people, the richest people of India, 10 by 5%, then it can generate sufficient money to bring every single Indian back to school. Every single Indian can be brought back to school by taxing only 5% to only 10 people of India. अब क्वेश्चन ये आता है, would the government do this? करेगी इसे? Would they accept this kind of ideas? No. And why? Because this is a problem, Dilip. We have understood government is too much neoliberal. ये neoliberalism का issue है. It's क्या कर सकते हैं? So the thing is, they will not adopt this because the government is under the ideas of neoliberalism. And that's why you have two Indias. इस समय भारत में एक भारत नहीं है. You have two Indias within Indias. Let's understand two Indias. Number one, number two. You have two Indias within Indias. This neoliberalism wala that I'm talking about. Pehla, you have an India of rich and wealth. Riches and wealth. And the examples are roads. Look at India's road. Marvelous work. Road, expressways, yeah, bullet trains, and what is riches for riches? Ease of doing business. If you judge current government on these indicators, perfect. Well, perfect is nothing, but you can say very good indicator. Very good. Second is Bharat, the poorest India. If you look at this, in all indicators we are going down. This is the impact of neoliberalism. Up the global hunger index down. Poverty में India has become world poverty capital. All index we have discussed earlier. Remember, these are important index. Democracy में down. Press freedom में down. Happiness में down. You will not find any socio-economic indicators that is for poor's Bharat or the common people's Bharat. In all indicators we are down. हाँ शिवानी, हंगर की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ. न्यूट्रिशन, अब गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया खुद का सर्वे देख लेते हैं. नेशनल फैमिली हेल्थ सर्वे, न्यूट्रिशन डाउन. So all socio-economic indicators में we are down. Global Hunger Index, Poverty Index, Democracy, Press Freedom, Human Rights, आपका nutrition. But in riches वाले में we are up. Ease of doing business में we have done marvelously. Road and expressway में I commend the government, they have been very good. आपका business friendliness में very good. Your bullet trains and all जो भी ideas है very good. Projects very good. Ports very good. But when real people matters, things are not working. This is an outcome of neoliberal government. Again, I'm saying privatization is good. Oh my God, the money you were writing is that big. बिल्कुल सही, बिल्कुल. देखिए, corporate does not like violence. समझिए, अगर violence होगा तो कौन मरेगा? Corporate. You have a factory. ठीक है, if there is a violence, the factory workers will destroy the factory. You will be damaged. So corporate never love violence. The capitalists never like violence. They abjure violence. But understand the difference. There is a strong support for the government because it is highly neoliberalism. ये short term benefits समझ रहे. They are not understanding that these short term benefits will bring long term cost. Literally long term cost. इसका example आप समझिए. इसका reason आप इसको I cannot say much because you know बिहार में इंटरनेट नहीं आता है and I would not be able to teach you next Saturday. So but understand like this. Look at the media. आप मीडिया की ओनरशिप, do this, take 10 minutes of your time and look at the ownership of media. आप देखना इंडिया की जो मीडिया कौन ओन करता है, who owns India's media, तो आपको आंसर मिल जाएगा. क्लियर? पॉलिटिशियन ओन नहीं करते, पॉलिटिशियन को ओन करना प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है. हाँ, भाई पॉलिटिशियन में भी मेंबर और बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर वगैरह में मेंबर हो सकते हैं, बट डायरेक्ट कंट्रोल नहीं है. डायरेक्ट कंट्रोल आप देखना किन लोगों का है. देयर आर सम पीपल, renowned people, they directly control the entire media. सारे ये इंडिया टुडे, आज तक, जी जो भी है सारे के सारे, all are bought by few people. This is the problem. And I hope सबको याद है, मैंने कंसेप्ट डिस्कस किया था, opaque state, and this is what they do. But media creates it, smoke screen. This is your state. इसके चारों तरफ it creates a smoke screen so that you cannot see the true nature of the states, and that's why they keep on winning elections. Because the common people think that India is going through a glorious phase. If you will ask them, are you employed? They will say no. The problem is they are unemployed, but still they feel that India is going glorious and we should compromise for our mother nation, which we should. We all should compromise for our mother nation. इस पे एक और debate आती है बहुत अच्छी, which is more important. It's an ethical debate. Which is more true? जय हिंदुस्तान और जय हिंदुस्तानी, which is better? Because इसके लिए आपको स्टेट का कंसेप्ट आता है. स्टेट क्या होता है? टेरिटरी विद अ पॉपुलेशन एंड अ सॉवरेन. I told you without population there is no state. I told you that if any of these components are missing, you do not have a state. State comes with population. If I, for example, remove all the Indians from this land, then this land has no value. This land has value because we live in it. We give value to this land. Without us, there is no value of it. आपको पता है हिंदुस्तान वर्ड मैंने आपको बताया था, but how this word Hindustan came? Hindustan means a place of where Hindu lives, and the word Hindu comes from the Sindhu River in our Arabic word. Arabian people they could not pronounce Sindhu, so it became Hindu, and from that we got the name Hindu. And the Hindustan is the land of Hindus. So it derives its name from the people. Every state, America is for Americans से America बनता है. America is composed of Americans. Without Americans, there is no America. Without Chinese, there is no China. People give meaning to a land by the name of state. And if people are suffering, then the nation cannot be glorious. That's my point. Simply point यही है. Amrit Kal will not come by saying the words. Amrit Kal will come when on global hunger index we will rise. On poverty we will go down, of course. ठीक है, poverty में we will go down, of course. In gender justice we will go up. In jobs we will go up. Then the real India will be. Remember this ethical debate, and you can write in GS paper. इसमें कुछ बुरा नहीं है. You can easily write in the ethics paper. You can directly write there, Jai Hindustan and Hindustani. But use a sound argument, intellectual argument that population gives meaning to a land. You can write. Yes, Salman, that lead to revolutions. आप एक हद तक बेवकूफ बना सकते हैं. That's मैंने पहले डिस्कस किया. Abhinav, I don't know whether you were the part of classes or not. I've discussed the strongman dilemma. I've discussed the strongman up PSIR. Example लेते हैं RTI. Right to information came during which government? MMS. आपका right to education, your Forest Rights Act, which give right to tribal, Forest Rights Act, your right to food, your क्या बोलते हैं whistleblower protection act, which is not notified even today. All the act that empowers you and me, RTI, RTE, Forest Right to food, whistleblower, these are few names. Maybe Manrega was also Manmohan Singh's idea. Manrega, MG Narega, 2005 I believe it became. All these are pro-people reforms, and they all are for you and me. They all empowered us. You understand this? इसमें एक statement मुझे याद आती है. He gave a very good statement in one of this last days, that the world, he said that the history will be kinder to me than the India's media, and he was right. History is indeed kinder to him than India's media. Problem क्या होता है actually? Where it has dropped, I don't know. देखिए प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है. People love orators. प्रॉब्लम ये होती है people love orators. आपके सामने दो व्यक्ति हैं. One is a bit silent, one is assertive and speaking a lot. So you start thinking that this person speaking a lot and assertive is more, who appears more confident, is more knowledgeable. ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है. The silent person may be best of the people, but that person may not be very outvocal, maybe a bit introvert, and you start considering that person as a fool. By the time आपको पता लगता है you are in a bad relationship. Yes, Taman, everything is narrative. Politics runs on narratives, I told you. Economy runs on narrative for that matter. For example, the money, the pocket, the rupee that you have in your pocket, I told you it was nothing. It's a paper. But because you believe that it can empower you to purchase anything, it has power. Economy runs on belief. So does politics. Politics doesn't matter what is there. If I can make you believe what is not there. इसी में काम आता है मीडिया का. I told you अभी हमने थोड़ी देर पहले चाइना में करा था. We understood in China why we banned the Chinese app, because they will influence the today's population and their value will become our value. RBI जो गवर्नर का साइन है उसमें what will happen when the currency fails. आप जाएंगे गवर्नर के पास कि गवर्नर जी you promised us to pay 10 rupees. इसमें लिखा हुआ है. Governor will be like, okay fine, come here. He will give you another paper. Take this. This is Indian rupee 2.0. Indian rupee 2.1 has died. RBI does not have the money. RBI के पास 4,200 crore. The gold reserves and everything that RBI has capped is not more than 200 crores. Everybody knows this. If the currency fails today, then RBI cannot pay you anything. What RBI will do, RBI will print different money and will exchange your money for that money. Just say, for example, 500 and 1,000 rupees. It was made worthless within seconds. Same thing can happen. It's a mirage, legal mirage. Clear है, चलता रहता है. Anyway, हमने सारी बातें कर ली. The basic logic is tax the rich. This is not me speaking. This is Oxfam International Report, and along with another person, Thomas Piketty. Thomas Piketty wrote a book, Capital in 21st Century. In that, he has suggested to impose wealth tax and inheritance tax. The people who have extraordinary wealth and the people who have inherit crores of wealth, tax them. और ऐसा होता भी है. देखिए, हाँ, विंडफॉल अभी आ रहे हैं अभिनव. यहाँ तक क्लियर है? Then I will come to windfall. Okay, next the term that Abhinav said, that is in the notes also. Let's see what is the windfall wala. देखिए windfall tax क्या है? It's a new concept because देखिए what happened? A lot of companies earned billions of dollars. How this wealth increased disproportionately for the rich people? Imagine you have a company X, there is a company Y. I am a person. I invested, say for example, 10 crore rupees. But to invest 10 crore rupees, I must have the rupees. Why the rich become richer? Because they have the money to invest. And investment give returns, heavy returns. And why the poor become poorer? Because they do not have money to invest. They spend their money in surviving only. कहाँ से rich बनेंगे? Rich people, there is an English saying, money breeds money. Means money give birth to money. If your money you invest, you become rich. Imagine there is a company X and Y. They deal with oil. ये मान लेते हैं, it deals with oil. It deals with pharma. It's a pharma company. I came, I had 20 crore rupees. I invested 10 crore rupees here. 10 crore rupees in oil, 10 crore rupees in pharma. All of a sudden, Corona came. So what happened? Pharma company के जो share होंगे, it will boost. My 10 crore will become 100 crore. And then oil में, all of a sudden this oil crisis came and the oil prices slump जो हमारी कंपनियों के साथ हुआ. This 10 crore will also can convert to 200 crore. So what has happened? I have got disproportionate money by investing 10 crore because of unforeseen circumstances. Nobody could have predicted that there could be Ukraine war. Nobody could have predicted that all of a sudden Corona will come. So because of some unforeseeable circumstances, I have got windfall income. Means the money has literally showered over me. To impose taxes on such money, it is called windfall tax. Clear everyone? What is windfall tax? ये windfall tax में suggest किया गया that government shall impose windfall tax because a lot of company have become ultra rich by doing this. Especially कोरोना के टाइम पे pharma companies have earned disproportionate profits. Disproportionate. नहीं, it is it is being debated today. It is being debated today because windfall has become a new thing today due to this Ukraine crisis and Corona. Corona does not come every day, so people make windfall gains, no doubt over this. But this amount of windfall gains were never made. These two big disruptions, the Ukraine and Corona, nobody could have predicted Corona. Because of Corona, there has been disproportionate gains. Who knows? हो सकता है pharma companies intentionally suspend it. Who knows? Cynical people are there. Maybe. But conspiracy theory तो होती रहती है. We cannot say for sure. But it is not believed कि it was intentionally spread. But हो भी सकता है. Imagine I am a pharma company. I want to earn disproportionate profit. Pharma companies में people have become billionaires. Pharma company जितना पैसा कमाया कोरोना में कोई नहीं कमा सकता. Anyway, सबको क्लियर है windfall gain. तो the way forward. डिस्प्रपोर्शनेट सिंपल है ना. फॉर एग्जांपल एक कंपनी कल तक अर्न कर रही थी 10 करोड़ रुपीस प्रॉफिट, अचानक से वो इतने करोड़ पे आ गई. टुमारो इट वाज 2019 में इट वाज अर्निंग 10 करोड़, ऑल ऑफ अ सडन 2022 तक इट इज अर्निंग 10,000 करोड़ प्रॉफिट. दिस इज डिस्प्रपोर्शनेट प्रॉफिट. अचानक से कैसे हो गया? एंड वी ऑल नो देन कोरोना. चलिए, तो इसमें चाइना ने भी बहुत पैसा कमाया. मतलब अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल गॉट रिच. सिंपल बात ये है. फॉर एग्जांपल आपके normal people देख लीजिए. I am telling you during corona crisis people have made not only the pharma companies, they people something called, we call them क्या नाम है, medical representative. These are the people who work in pharma companies. They go to doctor and lease in with them. It's illegal, basically. It's illegal to go to doctor and make them to sign. When you go to a private hospital, na, this sign you must see. Government में नहीं मिलते लोग, private में मिल जाते हैं. If you go to a private hospital, you see wherever you have to go discussion, जो भी आप analysis diagnosis के लिए जाते हैं, you will always find people with bags and everything outside the doctor at the private hospital. These are MRs, medical representative. They are representative of companies, private pharma companies. So ले ली होगी, बिल्कुल ले ली होगी. MR ने बहुत कमाया है कोरोना में. अब MR के पास क्या होता है? They have a lot of access to medicine. Imagine कीजिए, you require ये remdesivir का issue चला था. You require remdesivir. And people were, it's ज़्यादा costly नहीं थी. It was around 1,000 or 1,500 something. It had been sold for lakhs of rupees. 10 to 20 lakh rupees people have paid for one remdesivir injection, which is not more than 1,000 rupees. Imagine कीजिए कि MR ने कितना कमाया हो. हाँ, MR को बहुत मिलता है. They get free में pen, a lot of things they get. बहुत मिलता है. MR medicines में बहुत पैसा है. It's very easy. Nonetheless, so windful gains have been made during Corona by a lot of people, including MRs. But ऐसा नहीं कि everyone is bad. Remember this, the world is not bad. I know a person personally. He still goes by a bike. So a bike, he's a MR, and during Corona crisis, he distributed remdesivir. He spent his own petrol to brought remdesivir at 1,000 rupees only. चाहता तो वो उसे लाखों में बेच सकता था, but he spent his own petrol. ऐसे लोग भी I know him personally. He still goes by a simple bike, normal bike है उसके पास. होते हैं people. Everyone is not money hungry. Some people have humanity left also. And best part is, he's my best friend. I know because he brought remdesivir for my father. इसलिए मुझे पता है. And a lot of people he brought. चाहता तो वो भी बहुत पैसा कमा सकता था. I know him personally. So but he did not. उसने बहुत लोग आज भी he's such a gold guy, I will tell you. अभी भी क्या होता है, MR get a lot of medicines. They get a lot of medicines. जिन्हें मिलती है purpose को. वो क्या करता है? A lot of MR what they do is they take the medicine, they pile up and they sold it to this क्या बोलते हैं, chemist shop. आज भी वो क्या करता है? He compiles all the medicine which he get from the company. He give them to the government. Government hospital में जाता है. वहाँ पे जितने भी people who are sitting on the street and all ना, the poor people, उनको distribute करके आ जाता है सारी free में. ऐसे भी लोग होते हैं. It's up to us. देखिए, I simply understand. It's up to us what we want to do. अगर if you want to do corruption, you will find numerous reasons to corruption. If you are a good person, you can find numerous ways to not to do corruption. कोई नहीं, बैलेंस हो जाएगा कभी ना कभी. चलिए, हम मार नहीं सकते हैं. He's just a cog in the wheel. Wheel बहुत बड़ा है फार्मा कंपनीज का. सब लोग इन्वॉल्व. इवन पॉलिटिशियंस टेक अ कट. उन्हें नहीं पता कि क्या चल रहा है. सबको पता है. डॉक्टर्स लेते हैं. डॉक्टर्स आर सो अनएथिकल. आप डॉक्टर के पास जाइए प्राइवेट में, इफ यू आर गोइंग ना, दे विल इंटेंशनली प्रिस्क्राइब यू 1,000 रुपी मेडिसिन. जबकि वही मेडिसिन इफ he want, he can prescribe you 10 rupee medicine also. They are highly unethical. चलिए, तो ये बात हो गई हमारी. This is neoliberal greed, not good for anyone. अगला आते हैं, annual status of education report. So we have discussed this inequality wala. Another very important topic for UPSC is education. Education में so recently a report has been published, annual status of education report. The previous news and this news you have to you have to read in unison. दोनों को you have to combine. Then you can make a true picture of India, true today's India. The Pratham, remember everyone, Pratham Foundation is a NGO kind of body. It publishes Pratham NGO. It's a kind of NGO. It publishes an annual status of education report, known as ASER report, highly authoritative and highly acknowledged. It's sought after report. So it has published a report. In this, it has given some. What is the report? इस रिपोर्ट में they carry out annual citizen-led household countrywide survey. In countrywide, they take sampling, they do whatever mathematical tool they adopt, they go to houses, citizen-based analysis. And it is based on the enrollment status of children aged 3 to 16. The report that they prepare is for 3 to 16, prepared by the Thumb Foundation. Now, why we are discussing? Because recently, 2022, they have published their report after 4 years of break. Nation's first field-based basic answer. The पहली report है in 4 years talking about the education system of India, and let's see how it is. Pathetic पहले बता देता हूँ कैसे. If you see, there was a significant increase in the percentage of kids 16 to 14 enrolling in government school. पहला आप मुझे बताइए good news or bad news? Is it a good news or bad news that people enrolling in government school have increased? Depends. Shivani is right, it's bad news. It's very bad news. Why bad news? Because government school पहली preference नहीं होती. They are being enrolled. इसका मतलब more and more people are unable to afford private education. It means more and more people are getting poorer. It's a direct indicator people are getting. और इसका positive consequence होगा. इसका positive consequence ये है, government takes government school lightly. अब imagine कीजिए you are a well-read person, ठीक है, you may be doing a job of 60 to 70,000. ठीक है, you often send your kid to the private school. But now your kid, because your income has reduced to 30,000, now you have to send your kid to a government school. But you are still a literate, well-connected person. So what you will do, you will ensure accountability now. इसका long term consequence ये हो सकता है. वैसे भी देखिए education में I always say, education and health must be free for everyone forever. Education and health must be free for everyone and forever. ये हमने पहले भी discuss किया है. The difference you have, there is a called government school, there is private school. Because the rich people have private schools and hospital where same principle applies. Because the rich people have private schools and private hospitals to go. Government take government schools and government hospital for granted. Understand why? If a doctor in a government school, they first of all do not very much treat patient with dignity because they are also heavily burdened. Other reasons, but another reason is lack of infrastructure, lack of staff. People are not treated goodly. Why? Because they know the person who is coming is a poor person. I'm in a government hospital, a primary healthcare center. Rich people do not come here. So he knows that everyone in front of him is a poor person. So he does not care and he's not scared. Ab imagine kijiye, if there is only one hospital in the entire locality, private or government मान लेते हैं, the rich goes to that government hospital and the poor goes to that government hospital. So what will happen? The doctor sitting there will not know जो अब व्यक्ति आया है, is he well connected or not. Imagine कीजिए you are a you are a क्या बोलते हैं health secretary. आपका बच्चा एक गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में जाता है, तो इससे क्या फायदा होगा? That kid will go to government school, he will come back home and say, Papa, the teacher did not come. You will immediately call the education officer, and the education officer immediately will terminate that teacher. And the teacher will be scared. That teacher will always come in class and will teach. This is the analysis of Amartya Sen. Amartya Sen has said, as long as we have different schools and different colleges and different hospital for the rich, India cannot grow. India can grow when everyone will grow. And they will grow when there is single school. I'm again saying, maybe private, but same. समझिए प्राइवेट स्कूल्स जो है ना, प्राइवेट स्कूल्स एंड ऑल, दे आर डिस्ट्रॉइंग इंडियाज इक्वालिटी. अफोर्ड नहीं कर पाते. एनीवे, क्लियर है सबको एडमिशन अटेंडेंस वाला लॉजिक? तो इट्स अ बैड न्यूज़ दैट मोर पीपल आर गोइंग टू गवर्नमेंट स्कूल. बट हाँ, इसका कॉन्सिक्वेंस वुड बी गुड बिकॉज इन फ्यूचर गवर्नमेंट विल पे मोर अटेंशन टू गवर्नमेंट स्कूल. बाकी देखते हैं बेसिक लिटरेसी में. बेसिक लिटरेसी पे दे हैव फाउंड दैट इंडिया में इट्स हाईली पैथेटिक. द बेसिक लिटरेसी लेवल इज सिग्निफिकेंट डिक्लाइन because students are admission increase कर रहे हैं, which is देखिए consequence will be good but immediately it is a bad news. It means that people are more poorer than ever. ऑनलाइन हर कोई अफोर्ड नहीं कर पाता था, मतलब थोड़ी प्रॉब्लम ये है। वी लिव इन अर्बन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, तो वी कैन हैव दिस। रूरल एरिया में अभी भी अवेलेबिलिटी प्रॉपर नहीं है। एंड ऊपर से प्रॉब्लम ये होता है, इमेजिन कीजिए, you are a related teacher. If a student if a rickshaw puller son come to your school, so you can teach them. A rickshaw puller son cannot afford a proper high speed internet. So sir, I'm saying ऑनलाइन क्या इंस्टाग्राम की वजह से नहीं पढ़ते होंगे, और वहाँ पे सारे लड़के लड़कियां बन के घूम रहे हैं, तो क्या करेंगे? तो ऐसे देखते हैं बेसिक लिटरेसी लेवल, एंजल प्रिया के अकाउंट बना रखे हैं बहुत सारे। हाँ, बेसिक लिटरेसी लेवल में क्या, रीडेबिलिटी। Readability at the basic literacy level significantly declined, which is a bad news. Children's fundamental literacy level have declined significantly, with reading abilities declining much more steeply than numerical ability. मतलब basically अगर मैं summarize करूँ तीनों point को, that India में education is dying slowly, and we have to work on this. But again, question is कौन करेगा? Who will do this? Government. But government क्यों करेगी when it can win elections by other means? तो buck stop at the people itself. Mathematical conclusion में हमारे बुरे हाल है anyway, tuition classes and all. Impact of COVID, the research also raised concern the pandemic would have caused families to pull their daughters out of school, drive them into young marriages. ये होता है, remember, may not be in your family, but it's a trend. If you have limited food, you feed your boy first. Family में, if you have limited food, you will feed your boy first. If you have limited wealth, you will educate your boy first. अगर आप पे एक्स्ट्रा रिसोर्सेज होती है, देन यू एजुकेट योर गर्ल, देन यू फीड योर गर्ल, कॉमन थिंग। इसीलिए इफ यू रिमेंबर वी डिस्कस दैट मैटरनल मोर्टेलिटी हमने पढ़ा था, तो मैंने आपको बताया था बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम इन इंडिया इज दैट इंडियन वुमेन स्टार्ट देयर प्रेगनेंसी एट low weight, or they do not gain sufficient weight, because still in India the women are given second class status. They give more preference to their male children, because this is the problem. So when the family income reduced, they pulled their daughter first and force them into young marriages. After then, they will pull क्या बोलते हैं, boys also. Anyway, this is the biggest impact. Major concern, resource are inefficient, bias in favor of English. ये तो common चीज है, ये पहले भी हम discuss करें. Anyway, these are the scheme and all आप पढ़ सकते हैं. चलिए, so this is the thing that I had to discuss with you. बताइए, any question anyone has in mind with respect to education? ना, बिल्कुल ना. Okay. चलिए, तो these are the 4 news that I prepared for you. और जहाँ तक बात है PPT की, I will upload them today. The class, previous class as well as today's class on the portal itself. Cool, everyone? Yes, very welcome, Atira. क्वालिटी के लिए दमन उसमें गवर्नेंस पे प्रॉपर्ली कराया जाता है. रिक्रूट मोर टीचर्स, डू नॉट ट्रीट देम एज पेड लेबरर्स. आई हैव टोल्ड यू इंडिया कैन बिकम अ सुपर पावर बाय सिंपल मेजर्स. पहला, ट्रीट योर टीचर विद डिग्निटी. ठीक है, उन्हें पेड लेबर मत मानिए. कुछ भी करवा रहे हैं, सेंसस हो रहा है उन्हें भेज दो, वैक्सीन लग रही है उन्हें भेज दो, कुछ भी हो रहा है उन्हें भेज दो. Do not do not treat your teacher as paid laborer. Give them with dignity, and most important, give them only one task. You are here to teach the students, no other thing. किसी को भी ले लो, उनको छोड़ के. Second thing, proper training. Third thing, proper qualification. Fourth thing, exams and periodic exam. एक बार टीचर बनने का मतलब ये नहीं कि आप एग्जाम नहीं दोगे, बिल्कुल दोगे. Become a teacher, serve for 10 years. Again, there will be an exam to see are you fit today to teach the students or not. And that exam must include the feedback of previous 10 years from the student. These reforms are available. If the government wants, they can change things. But question is, again comes this, who will? कौन करेगा? When you can win election by other means, then why to invest so much time on education? तो बहुत मेहनत लगती है ना, क्यों करा जाए? Anyway, तो देखते हैं. I hope somebody or may the people will force somebody. देखते हैं. चलिए, तो this was the our लेफ्ट आउट टॉपिक्स, कौन सा लेफ्ट आउट टॉपिक्स? नहीं, इट इज नॉट हार्मफुल दमन, इट इज नॉट हार्मफुल फॉर पॉलिटी, इट्स गुड। अगर आप पढ़ोगे तो क्वेश्चन करोगे। इफ यू विल स्टडी देन यू विल स्टडी द रिपोर्ट्स लाइक द रिपोर्ट्स आई एम टीचिंग यू। आप नहीं पढ़ते तो आपको पता भी नहीं लगता। यू मे बी थिंकिंग वी आर लिविंग इन अमृत काल। आई टॉट यू द रिपोर्ट सो यू नो समथिंग इज रॉन्ग। पढ़ोगे तो नुकसान होता है। देना लीस्ट इंपॉर्टेंस दी जाती है, एजुकेशन को लीस्ट इंपॉर्टेंस दी जाती है, एंड दैट्स द ट्रेजेडी ऑफ इंडिया। आई एम नहीं, सारे नहीं होंगे दमन, फ्यू पीपल पढ़ जाएंगे। सरकार टेंशन नहीं लेती है, बट पेरेंट्स तो लेते हैं। पेरेंट्स गिव अप देयर एवरीथिंग, दे गिव अप देयर एवरीथिंग टू टीच देयर किड्स। पॉलिटिशियंस को परवाह नहीं। वही मैं कह रहा हूँ, नॉर्मल पीपल डज नॉट नो, they do care, they does not know, and politician does not care। उन्हें, और they intentionally keep the people illiterate। अगर उन्हें पढ़ा देंगे तो उन्हें पता लग जाएगा, पता लग जाएगा तो आप क्वेश्चन करोगे, क्वेश्चन करोगे तो सरकार जवाब नहीं दे पाएगी। काहे पढ़ाए? कोई देखिए, इसमें केवल बीजेपी कांग्रेस की बात नहीं है, बट थिंग इज ऑल गवर्नमेंट्स आर लाइक, ऐसा नहीं है कि ये आज ही हुआ है। ऑल गवर्नमेंट्स, इफ यू सी, हाँ ये कह सकते हैं आप, सम गवर्नमेंट्स आर बेटर इन परफॉर्मेंस, सम गवर्नमेंट्स आर बैड, वर बैड, बट लार्जली नो गवर्नमेंट हैज अ वेरी गुड परफॉर्मेंस, अ परफॉर्मेंस यू कैन प्राउड ऑफ। ऐसी किसी की नहीं है। चलिए कोई नहीं, देखते हैं। आई होप you will become the DM and all, you will tell them। Cool. So we are ending today's class. We will again meet next Saturday. Yes. Have a great weekend, everyone. Yes. Bye, Afifa. Bye, everyone. Bye, Tira. वड़क्कम, नमस्कार, सत श्री अकाल, एवरीथिंग। ये तो बुलाते वक्त होता है। चलिए बाय।